Do you ever feel like you're building an ark with only the instructions for a canoe? If so, you're not alone. Welcome to CEO-ish, where we'll discuss traveling the path of the unknown while making it your own. You know how you have a very important letter to write to somebody, and you sit down and you write the letter out, and when you get to the very last line, it isn't exactly the way you wanted it, and so you do this. That is what I have done with this very first episode of CEO-ish.
That is true.
It is true. And nobody will admit this, and maybe people do, and it's just not the podcast that I've listened to, but I have started this first episode so many times.
Quite a few times.
That I decided whatever comes out in this particular take,
this is it.
This is it. So it's just you get what you get.
You
on
get
this
what
one.
you get.
Okay.
Because we're ish all the way.
All the way. There is no formula that we are following for this podcast, this company, what you're wearing today.
That's kind of why I like it.
Yes. And as I looked up the definition of ish, because people might think, what in the world does CEO-ish mean? I looked it up, and it means more or less, somewhat, kind of, sort of. You get that?
I do get it.
Don't you feel like quite a few things that we do in life, as well as this company, Rustic Cuff, are ish?
Definitely.
You are one of the most ish people I know. Kelly is this is Kelly Smith. Did I introduce myself?
You didn't.
No, I didn't. I'm also Kelly Smith. That's fun to just change my name.
Because we're just winging it.
I loved how you started.
Yeah.
Just started talking.
Yes. So I'm Jill Donovan. And you know what? Why do we have to say our names at the beginning of the podcast?
I don't know.
We don't have to. From
We
now
can do
on,
whatever we want.
I'm saying it somewhere about the 3/4 mark on a podcast.
You do what you want to do.
I am almost to the 3/4 mark on this particular episode. Because why do they have to be exactly 17 minutes long?
Who said that?
This is going to be 7 minutes and 17 seconds. I'll
right.
show podcast world. So ish means sort of, kind of, not really, yet, somewhat, resembling. Okay. And I thought, well, people are going to wonder, what is CEO-ish? For just to give you a little background, for those of you who know nothing about CEO-ish or Rustic Cuff, a little background is that, you know how sometimes you project what you want to do in your future when you're 10 years old? I was going to marry John Geyer.
Right. I was going to be ballerina.
Oh, you were?
Mm-hmm.
How'd that turn out? And I was going to be a teacher. And I was going to also be a stay-at-home mom.
Really?
Yes. I wanted to be a teacher during the school year and a stay-at-home mom during the summer. That's how much I knew. And I was going to marry John Geyer, and I was going to have 4 kids.
Okay.
Okay. When I was 10, I wrote it all out on a piece of paper. Okay. Everything that happened from that point on, 10 years old, was nothing that I had on that piece of paper at all. At all. And I always felt like everything that I did, I was never quite prepared for it. My preparation was definitely not before the thing I did. It was right smack dab in the middle. Mm-hmm. And I always said, God, why did you not give me a handbook before I started? I needed instructions. Mm-hmm. And the way that I describe it, I feel sometimes like I was called to build an ark, but only given the instructions for a canoe.
I remember when I had my son, my first child, and I was so overwhelmed with mothering and parenting and all of that. And
you still are?
Totally, in a different way, in a new way. But this was the beginning of the overwhelmed feeling. And I remember looking at my husband and saying, we didn't have any money. You know, we were young married and had a little baby. And I was like, if there was an instruction manual for this child and it cost $10,000,
you'd get it.
I would be like, take out a loan and get that manual. I just want to know what to do with this kid. I just don't know what to do. So I was so overwhelmed by the lack of knowledge.
Anything that I have ever done, I am always overwhelmed by the lack of knowledge. And that got me to asking God, why don't you give me the knowledge before I start?
That would be so nice.
Super great. I brought my daughter home from the hospital and I babysat. So I thought since I babysat,
You got this.
I got this.
Yeah.
I often would call my mom and have her come over until the parents told me they were coming home, and then I would have my mom leave. No lie, I did that. I got paid 75 cents an hour, so I think that was okay. 75 cents an hour.
What is it, like 1914 you were babysitting?
1979, when I was 9 years old, I got paid 75 cents to babysit. The parents were home, but still, 75 cents.
Okay.
Anyhow, I thought I was prepared for a child when I got home with this baby.
Oh.
I said, you all should not have let me leave the hospital with this child. I don't have the degree in raising children. And
which is true. We don't know what we're doing.
No, the very first night I was home, they were awake the whole time in the hospital with Ireland the first two nights, which means...
You mean the hospital
nurses?
Yeah.
Yes, which means I'm thinking that people need to stay awake with her all the time.
Oh.
Yep. 18 days. You can ask my sister-in-law. 18 days in a row. I stayed up while Ireland slept, or Kelly stayed up.
Oh my!
The first night.
That's totally sustainable. By the
way. now my kids are like, Mom, stop staring at me while I'm sleeping. So I called the hospital, the labor and delivery wing, the very first night I got home. This girl answered, and I said, "Hi, this is Jill Donovan. You just rolled me out in a wheelchair, and I'm home with Ireland." And I said, I need to have a real nurse, because Kelly was my sister-in-law was a nurse, but it had been 10 years since she practiced.
Right.
I need a nurse that will come over as your second job, and I just need you to stay awake with Ireland at night. And she, I'm sorry, we don't have that available, but there are some places that will do that for you. 18 days in a row.
You must have been what to do. Acting insane with not sleeping for 18 days.
I don't remember showering either. 18 days. And so this podcast is titled CEO-ish, but it really could be titled anything-ish, because I was so momish. It wasn't what I thought a normal mom would be.
I'm momish now. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, I know there are people that do, but we are not friends with them.
We are not friends with them. We are not them.
No, we are not them. I mean, in all the ones who have ownership in Pinterest.
They're okay. I do think they're lying. The people that say they know what they're parenting wise.
Do you know any moms that really know what they're doing? So we have 100 plus ladies that work up here. Do you think any of them would say they know what they're doing? If so, we need to let them go.
I don't think so. Even if they know what they're doing, they don't know what they're doing. Sometimes I think people maybe don't share it. They don't. I don't think anybody knows what they're doing, but I think some people are less honest and open.
Oh, I know somebody who is like the mom, and she's here right now.
Really? Mm-hmm. Who is it?
Well, she has 3 children.
Okay.
I've never ever heard her talk about her children fighting ever, and she lives Pinterest like she is Pinterest perfect. No, I have, and anytime she comes in, she says, so-and-so didn't get his homework done last night. I was like, yes, your children are normal. Do you know who it is?
Who?
Erica, do you know who it is? Her name starts with a B. She works downstairs. She has blonde hair. Becca. Oh. We're calling Becca.
Her children don't fight?
Becca has not one single problem at all as
We're
going
to get it out of her.
Yeah.
Because she's just being...
She's not momish. Becca is mom.
No, she's not.
No, Becca is all mom. So
we're gonna have to talk.
Don't tell her we're on a call. I'll tell her. I'll get her permission afterwards. Okay. So is this way? Okay. Usually employees during the day answer it because they always get afraid.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Becca.
Hey.
What are you doing?
I'm working on my computer downstairs.
Oh, you are? Hey, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
You know how we always tease that your kids are like perfect and you never have any issues?
Yes.
And that I'm like momish, but you're mom.
Yes.
And you're like Pinterest perfect?
Yes, we do tease that.
Will you just make me feel better right at this moment? I'm feeling a little down about my momish self. Will you just tell me about the last time maybe that your kids like maybe looked at each other the wrong way?
Okay, let me think, because it's so hard since they are so perfect.
Oh, wow. So. Yes. She's not kidding.
So my 2 youngest ones, they have a hard time getting along. And so it's daily that we have to remind them to talk nicely to each other.
You mean like
Because
every day?
every day, yes.
Things are not as perfect as I thought.
They're not as perfect.
Okay, one more problem, Becca, just in general. Like, has anybody gotten like the sniffles lately in your house?
Yes, Gavin was sick all week.
Did you run out of Kleenex perhaps? Did you make him chicken? Did you make him chicken noodle soup?
I ran out of food for the kids' lunches.
Wait, you ran out of food for the
ran
kids'
out of
lunches?
food. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So they had to buy.
They had to buy their lunch at the cafeteria?
Terrible.
At the cafeteria, isn't that horrible?
Ew.
Instead of a home cooked meal.
You can stay. I love you. We'll chat later.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Becca.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, and by the way, you were being recorded. I hope you're okay with that.
Becca is just a very nice person.
Beyond nice. Like I've traveled with Becca before.
Yes.
She's so incredibly giving, so considerate. Yes. So I don't wish any ill will on Becca.
No, it makes me feel a little bit better.
Wait.
When her kids are fighting.
Becca ran out of food for her kids' lunches.
They had to buy their lunch at school.
I would never run out of food for my kids' lunches. Like ever.
Right.
Like I would get up at 4:00 in the morning and go find the only open store in town to buy them.
And my children have never, ever eaten school lunch.
School lunches? Becca's kids are buying school lunches? Somebody put that in the newspaper.
Okay, and when I said never, ever have my children eaten school lunch, I meant every single day they buy their school lunch.
That's momish right there. I'm going to induct Becca into the momish club.
Okay.
Yeah, because what kind of a mom is that?
I mean, please.
She has to remind her kids daily to get along. I mean, seriously. I love Becca now. I love her.
Yeah, she's in.
She's so awesome. So anyhow, back to the ish part. We could say ish about everything.
Yeah.
Because I then became nothing that I had planned. I worked for American Airlines for 7 years, and then I went to get a law degree and never wanted to be an attorney. Really, I didn't.
Really?
Do you know why I wanted to get my law degree?
Why?
I wanted somebody to come up to me and say, "What do you do?" I just wanted to say, "I'm an attorney." Because I don't have to say I'm a good attorney.
Right. Or a practicing attorney.
No, you don't even have to say practicing, just attorney. It felt so good. I mean, I'm young, and so this is my feeling of just like, I just want to say that word. But the entire time I was an attorney and then an attorney law professor.
Yes.
I should have said attorney professor because that would have really shown my ish. The entire time, I never ever knew exactly what I was doing. Really. But I will say the reason we're doing the podcast is because it's in the beauty of the not knowing that you find and flourish from your own story.
Yes.
Because if you don't embrace that and press in the not knowing part, then all you're doing is you are copying someone else and you are making a sequel from someone else's story. When was the last time you saw a great sequel?
Rocky 2?
Everybody knows The Hangover, right?
Right.
Does anybody know Hangover 2?
No.
Did you even know they made a Hangover 2?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay. Do you know why sequels have such a hard time of being really, really over the top incredible?
Is it because the reason the companies are making them is because they saw that they have another opportunity to make money?
Yes.
And it's not based out of a good script or a great idea. It's based out of, oh, that worked. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. They may not agree with us if we would ask them that question, but I think the general consensus is that they feel that this was a moneymaker here and people loved it. So let's just do that again.
Let's do it again, 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 again.
But do you know why the original did so well? Because it was original.
Right.
It was original. It's very, very hard to copy and do extremely well what the original did. Mm-hmm. And so whatever... Sorry.
It's okay.
No, I kicked you. And that's what we do on podcast-ish. I kicked Kelly hard under the table.
That's okay. And I said, that's all right.
It's okay.
Happens.
And she kicked me just now.
Sorry.
So everybody edits their podcasts. We decided we're not going to edit this podcast.
I mean, unless we say a bad word and then We should probably edit that part out.
Becca may say bad words, but we don't, in her family, but we don't here in this family. I'm sorry. Becca may. I'm not going to.
I don't know. I kind of like it not being so perfect.
I just perfect smurfect.
I mean, who's perfect? I'm not.
No, but do you really? Do you know what it makes me feel like to listen to a perfect podcast?
Bored.
No, so imperfect. It only highlights all my imperfections. I just love to hear that people just can be really, really real and not edit. So the beauty of this is that you may hear little clicks in it like it has been edited, but that's just because we had to stop and start a couple times because people walked through. But this will be the unedited first version, the first episode of CEO-ish. And if you come back and listen, I promise at some point you will identify with something in your life that everybody thinks that you should know exactly what you're doing, but sometimes you have no clue. And I would say embrace the ish. Embrace the fact that you need to be living from your own story instead of copying the sequel from someone else's story.
I need to hear the advice myself.
Yeah,
because even though I believe it and know it in my head, I float in and out of this, oh, I should do it that way. I do it all the time.
What's the number one thing that you think people copy or try to make a sequel from somebody else's story?
I think a huge one is parenting. I think people see, oh, how'd they do that with that kid? And you don't see all the stuff behind the scenes. You might just be seeing a veneer or like a one great moment in someone's life. And I mean, as terrible as this, I have 3 kids who I love, and they are imperfect, but they're mine. And I don't care if they're doing it right. They embarrass me a lot. They humble me a lot, but they make me laugh, and they're mine. So I'm taking them. They're mine. But sometimes when I'm on Facebook and I see somebody's kid accomplishing something,
Becca, she does have great Instagram stories. I love her.
True.
Yeah, we love Becca.
But it's why should I take so much something negative out of someone else's positive? Like, so the kid won first place in the track meet. That's great. Yeah. Like, but why is that making me feel bad?
Yes.
Like, it's fine. It's a great thing for them, but for some reason there's something twisted in there, and I just walk away feeling defeated and like a loser.
Yeah.
My kid's not a runner. Okay, fine. It's fine. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing that I always have a lot of comparison with is parenting. Because
it's the most varied thing, because there are a billion different ways.
And you parent each of your own kids differently too.
Yes.
So
yeah.
That's what's yours?
Running this company for almost 8 years now, there are many, many, many formulas and textbooks and leadership podcasts and conferences, and all amazing, really. But in the end, and I love hearing it because it only sharpens my skills, and I want to be a better leader and a better CEO. But in the end, what I have to remember is that the thing that makes this work right here would not work if you put somebody else in here who perhaps went by a textbook way of doing things.
Yes.
It doesn't work with this group of people.
That's true.
So I have to remember that God appointed me for this particular company, for this particular season, and not to ever think, oh my goodness gracious, this other CEOs would roll over in their grave if they saw the way we're doing things.
I should stop doing this. This is not what
I should stop giving them Tuesday through Friday off every week and just saying
the worst.
Yes. But this is what I was gifted by God this season, this time, and these people. And so CEO-ish it may be, but I wouldn't want it to be done any other way by anybody else, because this is the ish. I will embrace the ish because it is my own story. Even as incredible as, say, a company like Apple may be, for as large as it is, and all the things with Apple right now, I will say that I wouldn't want this company run like Apple. Everybody else here may want it run like Apple, and they can go work for Apple. But this is where we are supposed to be. So instead of looking and thinking, I should be doing it like they're doing it, I realize I'll let God show that to me when it's time. In the meantime, I will embrace the ish. I will embrace my story and not live somebody else's story and create a new sequel.
I think embracing the ish too requires one to be extremely present in their own life.
Yes.
Because it's just easier to look at somebody else's life and be like, oh, okay, I'll do that because it's already getting done and I'll do it. But to like hear for yourself what you should be doing and where you should be going in the direction, that requires being present in your own story.
That's a great way. That's a great perspective. So this podcast, not just this episode, but this podcast in general, will really be about all of the issues that we experience, that other people experience, and whatever. I'm sure you will find yourself in some story we tell, and it's just going to be the unedited version of pretty much embracing the ish, which is embracing your story in anything you do and not copying the original story from someone else. So I invite you to join us on this journey. It's going to be fun, mainly because Kelly is crazy and funny.
Super
and
funny
then when
and
you
humble.
see her no longer here, it means she wasn't funny anymore, or she ran out of stories.
Or I got fired.
Or you got fired, yes. So even though I swore I would never do this in a podcast, I'm just going to, because why not? If you enjoyed today, and if you liked just being with us today, we liked being with you. If you would hit that little button on your screen that says subscribe, so then we can be friends, because it's hard to be friends until we know who you are.
Embrace the ish with us.
Yes, embrace the ish with us. We would love for you to join us on this journey, and we will see you next time on CEO Ish. Thank you so much.